Hello, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to discuss this, my 40-year-old rooftop tent, my Columbus Auto Home rooftop tent that I got off Facebook Marketplace for 150 bucks. I'm going to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and what it's like really living with a $150 rooftop tent. So let's jump in. So one of the advantages about buying a second-hand rooftop tent is that it allowed me to get a very high quality rooftop tent for a very large fraction of the price. If I was to go out and buy a brand new rooftop tent, if I was looking at a hardshell one, I think the cheapest you can get is about $900 for the King's Quickie type, which is all canvas and it just pops up. Or you can go out and get the standard ones, which are the sort of boxy fabric design. They're very cheap, but I think they're a pain in the ass to set up. They're not super simple, super quick, and that sort of defeats the purpose, for me at least, of having a rooftop tent. So in order to open this one, all you have to do is unlatch this one latch and then push up. And that's it. Bob is your uncle. So to actually use the rooftop tent, I just hook this ladder on here and then I push it down. Super simple, fairly easy. And then I just can climb up. I have no issues. It is quite a steep gradient though. So if you were younger or older, it might be an issue. Just making sure you're safe getting in and out of the tent. And then at night when you're in the tent, it can be a little bit awkward to actually climb out of the tent safely. So that is something worth noting if you're looking at a rooftop tent. But for me, I've had no issues and no drama. And yeah, so it's all good and well buying the cheapest rooftop tent on Facebook Marketplace. But it does go without saying that buying the cheapest rooftop tent does come with some caveats. One of the major ones for me is that this zip is pretty well buggered. Firstly, the zipper itself is broken. Around here, there's a tooth that looks bent or whatever, so it won't zip up properly. If I want to open the tent fully and have this door pushed away to the side, then trying to close it becomes almost impossible. I have found if I leave it hooked up and sort of semi-zipped, I can close it, and that seems to work. The issue is that if I want to try and fix this, I don't know what to do. I have sprayed silicone spray on, hoping that would fix it. It didn't. And now it's sort of gotten to the point where I think if I had to fix it, I'd have to get it all re-zipped or reupholstered. And that's something that I don't know how much that would cost to do, or if it's worth doing on such a old rooftop tent. But apart from that, the tent itself is in really good nick. There was also an issue on the canvas on the other side. When I first got this tent, I went and had a look at it, and the old couple showed it to me from this side, and I thought, great, fantastic. It was 150 bucks. I knew a lot of people would have been messaging about it. I didn't really inspect the tent as much as I should have. So on the other side, there was quite a large hole. Had I known that when I bought the tent, I probably still would have bought the tent. Had I done my due diligence and looked around the tent some more, I probably still would have bought the tent anyway. It wasn't a super hard fix. I just got some canvas from a local horse shop. They make horse coats and blankets and stuff. And they had some offcuts. So I got some fabric that pretty much matches the color, at least sort of matches the color. I used some spray adhesive, cut the fabric to a similar shape, and look, it's watertight. It seems to be working and it keeps bugs out. So it's not a hard fix, but it is worth noting that if you buy a secondhand rooftop tent, there might be holes, there might be issues, the zipper might be broken. And that's something you just have to think about, is if the savings are worth the potential hassles or the potential issues you could run into. So while I've said this rooftop tent was $150, after buying a few more accessories or buying a few things that I actually had to have to use the rooftop tent, it added up to be a bit more than that. So when I bought the tent, it didn't have any of the mounting brackets. The owner didn't really know if it did, and then when I got there, it didn't. So in order to actually mount the tent to my roof rack, I had to either buy or make brackets. I decided to buy them. It just seemed easier. If you look up Columbus Auto Home rooftop tent, there's a place called the Overlanders, just out on the other side of Melbourne, and they sell all the accessories for the tent. And in terms of actually buying something from them, they were very helpful. I asked if it used the same bracket. They said they don't think it's ever changed, and they were right. It is the same mounting mechanism. So I bought that. I think that was about 110 bucks, 120 bucks. I also then had to buy some longer bolts because the bolts that came with the kit weren't long enough to go through my bracket and allow me to actually like mount my nuts on them. So it was probably about $120, give or take, just for the mounting brackets on top of the actual tent price. I also had to buy a new mattress. The mattress was pretty cheap, to be fair. I bought a memory foam mattress off Amazon. I think it was $50. And then I just cut it down to size because it was a queen mattress, and that was the right length pretty much, but not the right width. I did have a look at Clark Rubber, and they were going to charge something like $300 or $350 to sell me a mat that they could then cut to size for me. But I did not want to spend $350 on a foam mattress where this is memory foam. And I know in theory, if it gets super cold or something, it can get like really firm. But I live in Melbourne, it doesn't get that cold. And so far I've had no issues, and it's really comfortable to sleep on. So it's just a 50mm mattress. So it's nothing crazy. But it's the same size as the original mattress that was in here. But the mattress that was in here that came with the tent was really dirty looking and looked like it was probably the same age as the tent. And look, maybe you're braver than me. I didn't really want to sleep on that. And I think for the extra like $50 that I paid, I think a mattress is well worth the upgrade, and has provided me a very comfortable sleep every night. Another thing I had to do was regas the gas struts in the tent. Originally, I didn't bother doing this. I just used it as it was, and it did work. You did have to force the tent up. It didn't just pop up nicely. And you sort of had to really lock the tent in, which didn't really work either, but I was only camping in like fairly calm-ish conditions, and it was holding up fine. I had no issues. But a couple of months ago, I went to the snow in this tent, and that's when I discovered that you really need gas struts that either lock properly or are stronger, because the tent decided to fall down on my head. So basically, the gas struts just didn't work, and the snow that had fallen overnight caused the tent to just close. I woke up twice to the tent being on my head, and it was a pretty unpleasant experience, and then I had to try and shove the tent up. With that said, I don't know if regassing the gas struts would fix that, but I'm pretty certain they weren't even able to lock in place properly because the hole wasn't lining up properly, just because the tent wouldn't go taut enough. So I'm hoping, if I ever do any more snow camping, that it locks in place now, and the gas struts are able to hold against the snow, because waking up to a tent on your head isn't a super fun experience. So to actually regas this tent, it costs another $88. And look, you might be able to get away with not even regassing these struts, but I think if you plan on using this tent in some more harsh conditions, it's something that's worth doing. And also just in terms of opening the tent up, it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker. So yeah, that's my $150 Columbus Auto Home rooftop tent. Now, look, I know this is something you probably can't replicate exactly. You're not going to find the same brand tent. You're not going to find the same tent for the same price. You're not going to find the same tent with the same issues for the same price. But I think if you can go out and you happen to find a really good deal on Facebook Marketplace and you're considering getting a rooftop tent, you really can't go wrong. Do go into it knowing you might have to do some repairs, fix some things, change some things just to make it work for you. But if you can save, $1,000, $2,000, just to see if you even like the thing, then I think it's a no-brainer. This tent has been really good. It continues to be really good. I'm not sure what I'll do in terms of the zipper, particularly, if I'll keep using it until it breaks, if I'll look at getting it repaired, so I could use this tent for another 10, 15 years, or if I'll end up upgrading to a different brand rooftop tent, whether that's Kings or Ocam or one of the more expensive brands. I'm not sure, but I will say overall, as a starting point for rooftop tenting, this tent's been fantastic. I really like it. I really like rooftop tenting as a whole. And yeah, like I said, there are some issues, but I think for the deal I got, you really can't go wrong. If you like this video, please do leave a like. If you've got any comments you would like to leave them down below. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.